Greetings, my fellow Jedi Knights and Sith Lords. GhostlyNate here, and I'm going to talk about just how Disney ruined Star Wars. It is no surprise today that Disney owns literally every movie business on this planet, but it wasn't until 2012 when they decided to buy Lucasfilm for $4 billion. But business aside, Disney destroyed the Star Wars universe. But how exactly? Now, this has pretty much been around forever as common knowledge, but Disney's first major move was to remove the entire expanded universe comic and book series. This way they could have their own comic series, which we'll talk about later on. Ever since the original trilogy released, the expanded universe was beloved by the community. It answered questions that fans had, gave more backstory to the universe, and so much more. And mega fans of the expanded universe would have read each and every series just like how each and every anime lover reads their manga. And many fans, including myself, were pretty pissed off to find this out. I mean, one of the best ones, one of my favorites, and a New York Times best-selling book, Thrawn, is now considered non-canon, which is a total shame considering how amazing Thrawn's entire story was. For those of you that don't know, during the early rising of the Empire, Thrawn was the Grand Admiral of the Imperial Fleet before everyone's favorite Admiral Moff Wilhelm Tarkin. Now, as you all know, most movies and TV series need a comic series, but Disney couldn't come up with one, so they decided to just rename the expanded universe as Star Wars Legends. Even though it sounds like a very cool name, Disney decided that they will pull bits and pieces from it here on out, which they barely did. For example, in 2016 they added Admiral Thrawn, for the first time in any Star Wars series, into the TV series Star Wars Rebels. I mean, besides the parts with Thrawn, Captain Rex, Commander Wolffe, Commander Gregor, and Ahsoka versus Vader, Rebels seemed like a childish attempt to make another animated series to match that of the Clone Wars, which it didn't even come close to matching, but that's just me. Now let's get into the movies, because that's what you're here for mainly. We have all seen the sequels. Well, in an interview with George Lucas about the discussion during the business deal with Disney, he states this.
The films will have a longer life, and so that more fans and people can enjoy them into the future. It's a very big universe I've created, and there's a lot of stories that are sitting in there.
Then he comes out in another interview stating this.
They decided they didn't want to use those stories. Fine.
Well, Kathleen Kennedy states in one of the same interviews,
the main thing is to protect these characters, make sure that they still continue to live in the way that you created them, and that the universe of Star Wars continues to grow.
Hold on, time out. So you're telling me that you wanted to protect Lucas's characters, but yet you have Han Solo take a lightsaber through the chest and Luke just randomly vanishes out of nowhere for no reason whatsoever?
These are original stories and original ideas that come out of a world that essentially is in George's head.
Tell that to J.J. Abrams and the writers who clearly took and reskinned A New Hope. Honestly, you know your movie is horrible when the star of the show, Mark Hamill, comes out and says the movie's trash. Then Rian Johnson stepped in The Last Jedi. Everyone that has seen episode 8 knows that he had really no knowledge of what was going on and didn't really have any respect for what was going on either. Now, the only reason Disney made money off of his movie, episode 8, was because of two reasons. First reason is it's Disney, and the name alone makes people want to see it. And the second reason is the Star Wars name is massive as well. Now, Rogue One is a hit or miss to a lot of Star Wars fans, but I'm not going to go into mention episode 9 and the Solo movie because those movies were just a complete joke and a waste of money. Now look, in episode 7 you had the potential of a good sequel series. You really did. You had Poe, a top-notch ace pilot for the Resistance, who could actually had some good parts in the movies. Then you had Finn, with a very good backstory, an ex-stormtrooper who didn't like what the First Order was doing and decided to go rogue and join the Resistance. But later on we all thought he would become a new Jedi. During the ending battle of episode 7, we see Finn pick up Luke's lightsaber and use it in many fights and situations. And it was actually really cool. We had someone with a promising storyline. He had the spirit of a Jedi, clearly, but yet episode 8 totally took that out and ruined it. And they even made it to where he wasn't really sure how to use the lightsaber either, which was cool considering he has never used one before, and he had no prior training to using a lightsaber whatsoever before either. Nor did he have any idea on the Force. So he started out as like a fresh Padawan, like not knowing barely anything, still a rookie, picking up a lightsaber for the first time, which was cool how they did that. Which was also cool how they had him stand his ground against the Sith, you know, as well. But no, they all of a sudden had to come in and make the Mary Sue become the new Jedi. Not to mention leaving episode 7 with a total cliffhanger was great. Literally a cliffhanger. Now, when Rian Johnson stepped in, he decided to scrap the potential episode 7 started and redo his own thing. So guess how Ruin destroys this? First off, he has Finn start out as a deserter all over again. Like in episode 7, it never happened. You know, he was never a deserter. Let's all make him a deserter all over again. And include a useless character that brings him on a useless journey that has no impact on the useless story that Ruin Johnson is starting. He also has Luke throw away his lightsaber without asking any questions on how they obtained his lightsaber. No questions whatsoever. He just throws it over his shoulder. It's like, are you serious? And all of a sudden, he gives Rey the knowledge and ability to use many different force powers that would have normally taken years to learn. It took Anakin years to learn many different Jedi moves. It took Luke many years to learn different Jedi moves. I mean, Luke studied under Obi-Wan and Yoda, two of the most powerful Jedi in existence, and it took him years just to learn the Jedi mind trick. Like, literally, but no, let's give this Mary Sue a total, like, ability to where she's able to learn everything in, like, half a second. You know, total plot armor, right? And then you had Snoke, Sith Lord Snoke. Who in the world was this guy? I mean, he was the most pointless Sith Lord ever, because in episode 7, you had him, and he was like, oh my god, I'm this top tier dude, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, he's this amazing new character, what's he capable of? Is he gonna be the new Palpatine? And then episode 8 comes around, and Ruin Johnson's like, you know what? Let's just kill him off. Yeah, let's just do that. No biggie whatsoever, right? You know, for someone who could foresee the future through the Force, you were telling me that he couldn't see Kylo Ren kill him in a couple of seconds there. He was even saying, I could see you using your lightsaber to destroy. And it's just like, what? So you're seeing that, but you're saying you can't see who the one destroying is? Like, what the hell, man? They kill him before we could learn anything about him. And then they gave Rey a really bad backstory. I mean, just her parents being junk traders and who sold her off for basically just drinking money. It's kind of like, it's a weak backstory. It's just a lazy backstory. Now, I could continue on with this, but I'll move on to episode 9. And seeing how bad episode 8 was, they did have to bring back J.J. Abrams. I mean, Ruin Johnson just ruined everything. But there was just so much wrong with 9 that I don't even need to describe nor talk about how bad it was. I'll just say this, if Rey really wants to be a Skywalker, then she needs to lose a hand. None of this just claiming to be a Skywalker stuff. And her being a Palpatine out of nowhere? What is this? Like, are you just looking for some lazy workaround to give her somewhat of a better backstory and excuse for how she got her Force powers? It's like, no, come on. That's weak. But that's enough for the movies. Talking about how good and okay 7 was and how much of a joke 8, 9, and a Solo movie was is for another video for another time, and honestly that video would probably be 2 hours long, which now that I think about it would actually be better than the movies itself. Now there's one thing that Disney did that was right, and that was Jon Favreau. Jon is a massive Star Wars fan. He's a fan of the movies, he has read the comics, and read the books. I mean, this guy overall is just the perfect man for the job, and that job was directing The Mandalorian. Now, unlike the movies, Jon Favreau did an amazing job overall. The backstory of Din, the life of different planets after the end of the Empire, brings in different famous characters like Ahsoka Tano and Boba Fett, the famous actors that he brought in to be on the show. Working with the 501st Legion, a charity group of clone trooper Star Wars character cosplayers. Character development as well is just overall amazing. I mean, he was the savior of the franchise. Star Wars was going downhill for so long. There was rages all over the world on how poorly Disney did, and then they come out with this dominant series, this amazing series with a wonderful director, and they saved it. I mean, the Mandalorian alone brought in over $100 million worth of Disney Plus subscriptions. And seeing how beautifully successful the show was, they even decided to bring the last season of the Clone Wars, which was amazing also, considering it helped clear up what happened before Order 66 and what happened at the end of Episode 3. Like, it made it all clear. What happened to Ahsoka? What happened to Captain Rex? What happened to Wolf? What happened to Gregor? What happened to all these guys that we see in later series? Did Ahsoka die? Was she alive? Did she ever meet up with Vader again? So on and so forth. It answered so many questions. What happened to Darth Maul? Now, I will be covering the Clone Wars series later on in another time as well. Same thing with the Bad Batch series. I'll be covering that. Make sure to stay tuned for those in the future. And anyway, my young Padawans, let me know what you think in the comments section below. If you want us to cover any Star Wars topics, let me know or shoot me a message on Discord. As always, thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.